Good evening. My name is Jisoo and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. And we're on chapter 16, Shisho, the certificate of succession, and I'm up to paragraph 15. The veteran monk Shugetsu, while he was assigned to the post of head monk on Tendo, showed to Dōgen a certificate of succession of Unmon's lineage. The master directly above the person now receiving the certificate and the Buddhist patriarchs of the western heavens and the eastern lands were arranged in columns, and under these was the name of the person receiving the certificate. All the Buddhist patriarchs were directly aligned with the name of this new ancestral master. Thus, the more than 40 generations from the Tathagata all converged on the name of the new successor. For example, it was as if each of them had handed down the Dharma to the new patriarch. Maya Kasyapa, Ananda, and so on were aligned as if they belonged to separate lineages. At that time, Dōgen asked head monk Shugetsu, "Master, nowadays there are slight differences among the 5 sects in their alignment of names. What is the reason? If the succession from the western heavens has passed from rightful successor to rightful successor, how could there be differences?" Shugetsu said, "Even if the difference were great, we should just study that the Buddhas of Unmonzan mountain are like this. Why is old master Shakyamuni honoured by others? He is an honoured one because he realised the truth. Why is great master Unmon honoured by others? He is an honoured one because he realised the truth." Dōgen, hearing these words, had a little clearer understanding. Nowadays, many leaders of the great temples in Kaiangzu and Chekiang are successors to the Dharma of Rinzai, Unmon, Tozan, and so on. However, among fellows claiming to be distant descendants of Rinzai, a certain wrongness is sometimes contrived, namely, they attend the order of a good counsellor and cordially request a hanging portrait and a scroll of Dharma words, which they stash away as standards of their succession to the Dharma. At the same time, there is a group of dogs who, prowling in the vicinity of a venerable patriarch, cordially request Dharma words, portraits, and so on, which they hoard away to excess. Then, when they become senior in years, they pay money to government officials and they seek to get a temple. But when they are assigned as abbots, they do not receive the Dharma from the master who gave them the Dharma words and the portrait. They receive the Dharma from fellows of fame and repute of the present generation, or from old veterans who are intimate with kings and ministers. And when they do so, they have no interest in getting the Dharma, but are only greedy for fame and reputation. It is deplorable that there are wrong customs like this in the corrupt age of the latter Dharma. Among people like this, not one person has ever seen or heard the truth of the Buddhist patriarchs, even in a dream. In general, with respect to the granting of Dharma words, portraits, and so forth, they may be given to lecturers of doctrine and laymen and women, and they may be granted to temple servants, tradesmen, and the like. The principle is clear from the records of many masters. Sometimes, when some undeserving person, out of a rash desire for evidence of succession to the Dharma, wants to get a certificate, a master will reluctantly take up the writing brush, though those who possess the truth hate to do it. In such a case, the certificate does not follow the traditional form. The master just writes some brief note saying, "Succeeded me." The method of recent times is simply to succeed to the Dharma as soon as one attains proficiency in the order of a particular master, with that master as one's master. That is to say, there are people who, although they have not received certification from their former master, are occupying the long platform of another temple, which they have visited only for entry into the master's room and formal preaching in the Dharma hall. But when they break open the great matter while staying at this other temple, they do not have the time to uphold the transmission of their original master. Instead, they very often take this new master as their master. Another matter. There was a certain library chief, Den, a distant descendant of Zen master Butsugun, that is, Master Seion of Ryumon. This library chief Den also had a certificate of succession in his possession. In the early years of the Keijo era, when this library chief Den had fallen ill, the venerable elder Ryuzen, though a Japanese, had nursed library chief Den with care. So library chief Den had taken out the certificate of succession and let Ryuzen bow before it to thank him for his nursing work, because his labours had been unremitting. At that time, library chief Den had said, "This is something hardly seen. I will let you bow before it." 8 years later, in the autumn of the 16th year of Keijo, when Dōgen first stepped on Tendo-zan mountain, the venerable elder Ryuzen kindly asked library chief Den to let Dōgen see the certificate of succession. The form of the certificate was as follows. The 45 patriarchs from the 7 Buddhas to Rinzai were written in columns, while the masters following Rinzai formed a circle in which were transcribed the masters' original Dharma names and their written seals. The name of the new successor was written at the end under the date. We should know that the venerable patriarchs of Rinzai's lineage have this kind of difference. My late master, the abbot of Tendo, profoundly cautioned people against bragging about succeeding to the Dharma. Truly, the order of my late master was the order of an eternal Buddha. It was the revival of the forest. He himself did not wear a patterned kesa. He had a patched Dharma robe transmitted from Zen master Dokai of Foyozan mountain. But he did not wear it even to ascend the seat of formal preaching in the Dharma hall. In short, he never wore a patterned Dharma robe throughout his life as an abbot. Those who had the mind and those who did not know things all praised him and honoured him as a true good counsellor. My late master, the eternal Buddha, in formal preaching in the Dharma hall, would constantly admonish monks in all directions, saying, "Recently many people who have borrowed the name of the Patriarch's truth randomly wear the Dharma robe and like to have long hair, and they sign their name with the title of Master as a vessel of promotion. They are pitiful. Who will save them? It is lamentable that the old veterans of all directions have no will to the truth, and so they do not learn the state of truth. There are few who have seen and heard of the causes and conditions of the certificate of succession and the succession of the Dharma. Among 100,000 people, there is not even one. This is due to the decline of the Patriarch's truth." He was always admonishing the old veterans of the whole country like this, but they did not resent him. In conclusion, wherever people are sincerely pursuing the truth, they are able to see and to hear the certificate of succession exists. To have seen and heard may be learning the state of truth itself. On the Rinzai certificate of succession, first the master writes the name of the successor, then writes, "Disciple so-and-so served under me," or writes, "Has attended my order," or writes, "Entered my inner sanctum," or writes, "Succeeded me," and then lists the former patriarchs in order. So it also shows a trace of traditional instruction about the Dharma. The point being for the successor simply to meet a true good counsellor, regardless of whether the meeting is in the end or in the beginning. This is the unassailable fundamental principle. Among certificates of the Rinzai lineage, there are some written as described above. I saw them with my own eyes, and so I have written about them. Library Chief Ryoha is a person of the Ibu district, and now he is my disciple. I, Toko, served Ko of Kinzan. Kinzan succeeded Gon of Kasan. Gon succeeded En of Yogi. N succeeded Tan of Kei. Tan succeeded E of Yogi. E succeeded N of Jimyo. N succeeded Sho of Funyo. Sho succeeded Nen of Shuzan. Nen succeeded Sho of Fuketsu. Sho succeeded Gyo of Nan-in. Gyo succeeded Sho of Koke. Sho was the excellent rightful successor of the founding patriarch Rinzai. Zen master Busho Toko of Aiku-Ozan Mountain wrote this and presented it to Musai Ryoha. When Musai Ryoha. When Musai Ryoha was the abbot of Tendo, my brother monk Chiyu secretly brought it to the dormitory of quiescence to show to Dōgen. This was the first time I saw it, the 21st day of the first lunar month of the 17th year of the Great Sung era of Keijo, 1224. How overjoyed I felt. This was just the mystical response of the Buddhist patriarchs. I burned incense and did prostrations, then opened and read it. My asking for the certificate of succession to be brought out happened as follows. Around the 7th lunar month of the previous year, 1223, in the Hall of Serene Light, Chief Officer Shiko had told Dōgen about it in secret. Dōgen had asked the chief in passing, nowadays, what person would have one in their possession? The chief said, it seems that the venerable abbot has one in his room. In future, if you cordially request him to bring it out, he will surely show it to you. Dōgen, after hearing these words, never stopped hoping day or night. So in the year 1224, I cordially put my humble request to brother monk Chiyu. I did so with all my heart, and the request was granted. The base on which the certificate was written was a lining of white silk, and the cover was red brocade. The rod was precious stone, about 9 inches long. The scroll's extent was more than 7 feet. It was never shown to an idle person. Dōgen thanked Chiyu at once, and then went straightway to visit the abbot, to burn incense, and to bow in thanks to Master Musai. At that time, Musai said, "This sort of thing is rarely able to be seen or known. Now, venerable brother, you have been able to know of it. This is just the real refuge in learning the truth." At this, Dōgen's joy was uncontainable. Later, in the Hogyo era, while travelling as a cloud between Tendai Zan Mountain, Ganzan Mountain, and so on, Dōgen arrived at Manenji Temple in the Haiden district. The master of the temple at that time was Master Genshi from Fuchu province. Master Genshi had been assigned following the retirement of the veteran patriarch Sokan, and he had completely revitalized the temple. While I was making personal salutations, we had a conversation about the traditional customs of the Buddhist patriarchs, and while quoting the story of the succession from Dai to Kaiozan, the veteran master said, "Have you ever seen the certificate of succession that I have in my room?" Dōgen said, "How might I have a chance to see it?" The veteran master himself immediately rose, and holding aloft the certificate of succession, he said, "I have not shown this even to intimates, or even to those who have spent years serving as attending monks. That is the Buddhist patriarch's Dharma instruction. However, while staying in the city on my usual visit to the city in order to meet the governor of the district, Genshi had the following dream. An eminent monk, whom I suppose to be Zen Master Hojo of Daibai Zan Mountain, appeared holding up a branch of plum blossoms and said, 'If there is a real person who has crossed the side of a ship, do not begrudge these blossoms.' Thus saying, he gave the plum blossoms to me. Unconsciously, Genshi dreamt of chanting, 'Even before he has stepped off the side of the ship, I would like to give him 30 strokes.' In any event, 5 days have not passed and I met you, venerable brother. What is more, you have crossed over the side of a ship. And this certificate of succession is written in cloth patterned with plum blossoms. You must be what Daibai was telling me about. You match the image in the dream exactly, and so I have brought you the certificate. Venerable brother, would you like to receive the Dharma from me? If you desire it, I will not begrudge it. Dōgen could not contain the belief and excitement. Though he had said that I might request the certificate of succession, I only venerated and served him, burning incense and performing prostrations. Present at that time was a monk called Honai, an assistant for the burning of incense. He said that it was the first time he had seen the certificate of succession. Dōgen thought inwardly, it would be very difficult indeed to see and to hear this sort of thing without the mystical help of the Buddhist patriarchs. Why should a stupid fellow from a remote land be so fortunate as to see it several times? My sleeve became damp with the tears of gratitude. At that time, the Vimalakirti room, the great hall, and the other rooms were quiet and empty. There was no one about. This certificate of succession was written on white silk, patterned with plum blossoms fallen on the ground. It was more than 9 inches across, and it extended to a length of more than a fathom. The rod was of a yellow precious stone, and the colour was brocade. On the way back from Tendaizan Mountain to Tendo, Dōgen lodged at the overnight quarters at Goshoji Temple on Daibaizan Mountain. Here I dreamt a mystical dream in which the ancestral master Daibai came and gave me a branch of plum blossoms in bloom. A patriarch's mirror is the most reliable thing there is. The blossoms on that branch were more than a foot in diameter. How could the plum blossoms not have been the flowers of the Udambara? It may be that the state in a dream and the state in waking consciousness are equally real. Dōgen, while in Sung, China, and since returning to this country, has not before related the above to any person. There's a note on the bottom saying the Udambara flower is a symbol of the transmission of Dharma. Today in our lineage from Tozan, the way the certificate of succession is written is different from the way it is written in the Rinzai and other lineages. The founding patriarch Saigen, in front of the Sokei's desk, personally drew pure blood from his finger to copy the certificate, which the Buddhist patriarch had kept inside his robe, and thus he received the authentic transmission. Legend says that the certificate was written and transmitted using a mixture of this finger blood and blood from the finger of Sokei. Legend says that in the case of the first patriarch and the second patriarch also, a rite of mixing blood was performed. We do not write words such as my disciple or served me. This is the form of the certificate of succession written and transmitted by the many Buddhas and by the 7 Buddhas. So remember that Sokei graciously mixed his own blood and the pure blood of Saigen, and Saigen mixed his own pure blood with Sokei's own blood, and that the founding patriarch, Master Saigen, was thus the only one to receive the direct certification. It was beyond other patriarchs. People who know this fact assert that the Buddha Dharma was authentically transmitted only to Saigen. My late master, the eternal Buddha, the great master and abbot of Tendo, preached the following. The Buddhas, without exception, have experienced the succession of the Dharma. That is to say, Shakyamuni Buddha received the Dharma from Kasyapa Buddha, Kasyapa Buddha received the Dharma from Kanakamuni Buddha, and Kanakamuni Buddha received the Dharma from Krakachanda Buddha. We should believe that the succession has passed like this from Buddha to Buddha until the present. This is the way of learning Buddhism. Then Dōgen said, it was after Kasyapa Buddha had entered Nirvana that Shakyamuni Buddha first appeared in the world and realized the truth. Furthermore, how could the Buddhas of the Kalpa of wisdom receive the Dharma from the Buddhas of the Kalpa of resplendence? What do you think of this principle? My late master said, What you've just expressed is understanding based on listening to theories. It is the way of bodhisattvas at the 10 sacred stages or the 3 clever stages. It is not the way transmitted by the Buddhist patriarchs from rightful successor to rightful successor. Our way, transmitted from Buddha to Buddha, is not like that. We have learned that Shakyamuni Buddha definitely received the Dharma from Kashyapa Buddha. We learn in practice that Kashyapa Buddha entered Nirvana after Shakyamuni Buddha succeeded to the Dharma. If Shakyamuni Buddha did not receive the Dharma from Kashyapa Buddha, he might be the same as a naturalistic non-Buddhist. Who then could believe in Shakyamuni Buddha? Because the succession has passed like this from Buddha to Buddha and has arrived at the present, the individual Buddhas are all authentic successors, and they are neither arranged in a line nor gathered in a group. We must learn that the succession passes from Buddha to Buddha like this. It need not be related to the measurements of kalpas and the measurements of lifetimes mentioned in the teaching of the Agamas. If we say that, the succession was established solely by Shakyamuni Buddha. It has existed for little over 2,000 years, so it is not old, and the successions number little more than 40, so they might be called recent. The Buddhist succession is not to be studied like that. We learn that Shakyamuni Buddha succeeded to the Dharma of Kashyapa Buddha, and we learn that Kashyapa Buddha succeeded to the Dharma of Shakyamuni Buddha. When we learn it like this, it is truly the succession of the Dharma of the Buddhas and the patriarchs. Then Dōgen not only accepted for the first time the existence of Buddhist patriarchs' succession of the Dharma, but also got rid of an old nest. Shōbōgenzō Shisho, written at Kannon Dori Kosho Horenji Temple on the 7th day of the 3rd lunar month in the 2nd year of Japan's Ninji era, by a monk who entered Sung China and received transmission of the Dharma, Shramana Dōgen. And then a last note, the 24th day of the 9th lunar month in the 1st year of Kangen, hung our travelling staffs at the Kippoji Temple, a thatched cottage in Yoshida district in Ichizen, a written seal. Thank you for listening.